Hey, I'm back, and today I'm going to be making my own quilt jacket. Let's do it. I drafted this pattern myself by tracing out a jacket that I liked the shape of. I've used this particular pattern a couple of times now, and each time I make new adjustments, so it's still a work in progress. Here you can see I'm folding the back piece in half so that I can ensure that both sides are symmetrical, and then I'm just going to cut off the excess. Nice. Now I'm lining up the edges of my pattern pieces with the edges of the quilt that are already finished. That way I don't have to hem them. And I'm just going to cut those out super fast. Here's one sleeve finished, and we're about to come to my first mistake. I accidentally cut out my sleeves with both right sides facing up. I should have cut them out with the right sides facing together, like this. The reason for this is because each sleeve piece has a front and a back side. The front side has a steeper curve, and the back side has a shallower curve. When you cut those sleeve pieces out, you want them to mirror each other so that the steeper curve can attach to the front of the body on both sides. This makes it easier for your arms to move around when you're wearing the jacket. Luckily, there's a quick and easy way for me to fix this mistake. I'm placing the pattern half an inch down on those two mirrored sleeve pieces, and then I'm cutting away the excess. This is going to make the sleeves half an inch shorter, but the sleeves are pretty long anyway, so that won't matter too much. Awesome, now stick with me here because we're going to move on to the front torso pieces. Notice how I've got these little side flappies? Those will be where I attach the hand warmer pockets. And with all my torso pieces cut out, we're about to come to my second mistake. It looks like my pocket flappies aren't lining up in the back torso piece, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fold that piece in half, and then I'm going to angle it ever so slightly so that one side has a bit of an overhang. Then I'm going to cut off the excess. Not so bad, right? And now they match. See, sewing is fun if you're willing to make mistakes. Alright, now I'm going to cut out my collar piece and my two front pocket pieces, this time making sure that they're mirrored. Now I'm just going to iron underneath the edges so that they're both ready to sew. And I'm placing them onto my two front torso pieces to see where they'll look best. Then I'm just pinning them down, and now they're ready to sew. I'm using my sewing machine to attach the first pocket, and I'll use editing magic to complete the second one. But wait, we need more pockets. Now I'm going to cut out my side hand warmer pockets. Remember those side flappies? That's where I'm attaching the hand warmer pockets. And now I'm making sure that all of the pockets and side flappies match up with each other and the bottom hems of the jacket line up. And now I'm sewing the side pockets to the side flappies. Now I'm going to align my front and back torso pieces and sew above and below the side pocket flappies. And now I can sew around the edges of my hand warmer pockets. I'm sewing a straight line and then a zigzag stitch to seal the edges. Okay, so check this out. Now that those pockets are sealed up, you can reach in from the inside and pull them through. And now you've got a fully functioning pair of side hand warmer pockets. And if all those flappies were too much for you, you could always skip the side pockets and just have the front pockets. And that would still be great. Now it's time to sew together the front and back shoulder pieces and attach the collar. I'm going to do this by folding the collar in half to find the exact midway point, and I'll put a pin right there. Then I'm going to line up the edges of the neck hole, fold that in half, and find the midway point of the neck hole, putting a pin there. Now I can line up the midway point of the collar and the midway point of the neck hole and pin those together. And then I can pin the rest of the collar in place, working my way out from the center. Now I can sew on the collar. I've left an extra ½ centimeter of seam allowance on the side of the neck hole, and you'll see why in just a second. I'm going to fold over that extra seam allowance and iron it so that it hides the raw edge of the collar piece. I'm still working on this technique, and I think next time I would iron the edge of the collar piece before sewing it on. That was confusing even for me, and I hope that I can do it better next time so that it's more clear in a future video. For now, I'm sorry. Okay, so now I'm just sewing down that folded over hem. And now I can move on to the sleeves. I'm just folding it in half and sewing along the side, and then finishing that up with a zigzag stitch. There you go, 2 finished sleeves. Now it's time to attach them to the body. With the body of the jacket inside out, I'm placing the sleeves inside and pinning them at the seam. I'm making sure the seam of the sleeve and the seam of the body line up. And I'm making sure the seam allowance of the body and the sleeve are pointed in opposite directions so that it doesn't cause too much bulk. I'm pinning those 2 seam allowances in place, and that will be my anchor point to now pull the sleeve hole taut and place a pin where that taut edge meets the body. And now I can place pins in between those 2 anchor points until the sleeve feels secure. And now I'm ready to sew on my sleeves. Okay, just the finishing touches now. So I'm going to measure out where I want to place my buttons, and then I'm going to sew buttonholes using this buttonhole feature on my sewing machine. If you don't have a buttonhole feature, you can just mark out your hole and do a tight zigzag stitch around that. And then I'm going to open it up with my seam ripper. And there you go! I've got a quilt jacket with 2 sets of pockets and buttons down the front. I am really happy with this, and I can't wait to make more and share those updated videos with you guys. Thank you for watching, and I can't wait to see you guys next time.